Hello and welcome to Magical Travel Adventure. I am Lauren, your host, and today I am going to be talking all about Tron, the new ride in Magic Kingdom in Disney World. If you are new here, hello, I am Lauren. I'm a travel advisor. I specialize in Disney destinations, Universal Studios, and cruising, and I help you have the vacation you want to have, not the vacation people tell you you need to have. I help you so you don't have to sift through constant information and try and figure out what's true and what's not true. I give you what you need for your trip, personalized to what you are looking to get out of it. So, if you would like to work with me, my information is below, but let's get into today's topic. It's all about Tron. And I would think that people are excited about something new that's happening at Magic Kingdom. And with the opening of Tron, this new ride, it also opened up the train that goes around the Magic Kingdom. So it kind of opened up two rides in one, although the railroad has always been there. It just had to shut down while Tron was being built because the railway actually goes underneath where the Tron building is. So, why is this so important? All this stuff. Tron doesn't work like other rides. Disney World has this new thing when a new ride comes out, they've started this virtual queue, which I will get into. But basically, you don't have the option of waking up that morning, going into the park, and just waiting in line for a ride. You need either a virtual queue or a individual lightning lane pass. So all that information we're going to go over. Let's get into it. Let's get into why you should know about Tron and the different options you have for Tron. So, Tron is a roller coaster in the Magic Kingdom, and that is, where the castle is. But as you enter into the park here, you really want to try and go into this Tomorrowland entrance. And if you come up here to this is called the hub where this circle is, there are different spokes where you can, go different places. This first spoke on the right is going into Tomorrowland. There'll be like a big sign that says Tomorrowland above it on this walkway. That is how you want to get to Tron. Tron is where this yellow dot is back here. And if I'm just showing this to you so you can see it, but if you come over this path here, you want to go like you're going towards Space Mountain, and then you want to continue on to get to Tron. A lot of people are getting confused and they're going past and going to this second entrance. What happens if you go to this second entrance to try and get to Tron is you're coming over here, you're coming around the teacups, you're going back to where Dumbo is, and you're coming back to where one of the train stops is and where the Barnstormer is. And when that happens, then you still have to walk along this path and go underneath. And then you have to walk all the way around to get to the front of Tron. So it's taking a lot longer for people to actually get to the Tron ride. Now, this is only, going to help you if this is like you're entering the park and you're going over to the Tron ride. Otherwise, when you're in the parks, you still want to see that, you're going over towards Space Mountain. That's going to be your guide on where the entrance really is. And as you can see, there is a train tracks going all around. And over here by Tron, this is where those train tracks are that are actually coming underneath the Tron ride. Don't worry, you don't really get to see the Tron ride, but you are going underneath there. Okay, so that's logistics. How are you going to actually get to this ride? Now, let's talk how to actually ride this ride. So when we're talking about Tron, it's a new area, a new place that's opened up. And the way to actually ride it is two options. The first one is a virtual queue. This is something that you do in your My Disney Experience app that you need if you're going to Disney World to begin with. That's where all the information is. But in there is an option for a virtual queue. Or when you're looking at the ride list in the times guide, that will also, you could also get a virtual queue going through that way also. Now, why this is so important is there's no standby line. You can't go in and say, oh, I don't care if it's a 3-hour wait. I'll still wait for it. You can't. They're not going to let you in. You're not going to get to ride the ride. A virtual queue opens up at 7 a.m. to everyone, anyone who has a park ticket, and you have to have a park pass to Magic Kingdom. So if you're going to Epcot or you have a park pass to Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom, then you cannot try for the 1 p.m. part or the 7 a.m. virtual queue. Only people that have Magic Kingdom park passes can try for the 7 a.m. virtual queue. And what happens is in the first few seconds of 7 a.m., those virtual queues go. You're basically just pushing on a button saying, this is the virtual queue. Are these the people in your party? You say yes, which you can also pre-select so that you don't have to waste that time. And then you're just trying to press that button of joining the virtual queue at 7 a.m. and getting a spot. What will happen is if you do get that 7 a.m. virtual queue, it will say your boarding group is 10 to 20 or 25 to 35 or 100 to 110. And it will give you an estimated time of when they think they will be calling your boarding group. And you return within that hour of your boarding group being called. So let's say you at 7 a.m. you get that virtual queue and it says your return time, you're in boarding group 77. Then your return time is estimated at 300 minutes. So it's 7 a.m. right now. I should have picked something easier than I do. Let's say it's at 120 minutes. So I know. That means that they think around 9 a.m. that you're going to be called back to able to ride the virtual queue. You do kind of like, you will get notified that your virtual queue is up, but for some people, it doesn't notify you. So you might have to continuously look to see what boarding group they're on. And I'll show you in here how you can see in a minute when you're walking up. But that's one of your options. Then at 1 p.m., if you are in the Magic Kingdom, which would mean at 1 p.m., you would need a Magic Kingdom Park Pass still. Then at 1 p.m., you can try again for that virtual queue. So there's an opening at 7 a.m. If you don't get it, you can try again at 1 p.m. You cannot, if you got it at 7 a.m., try again at 1 p.m. You only get one shot at the virtual queue a day. Unless you are staying at a deluxe resort and it is extended evening hours that day, then at 6 p.m., you have the option of trying for a virtual queue. And let me say, for these extended evening hours at deluxe resorts, you don't need to be in the parks. You do not need a Magic Kingdom park pass for that day. If you don't have a Magic Kingdom park pass for that day, you can only come in during those extended evening hours if you don't have a park hopper. But you can still try for the virtual queue at 6 p.m. And then you can go in. If you get that virtual queue, you need to return to the virtual queue during the extended evening hours to ride the ride. Okay, virtual queue. They go in seconds. Seconds. If you are not on your phone before 7 a.m., you're not getting the virtual queue. It's not like at 7 a.m. I can open up the app and then start and then go in, or, oh, we slept in today, so it's 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. And now I'm going to see if I can get that virtual queue. No, it's seconds. And I anticipate it's going to be seconds for a long time. So just be aware of that. 1 p.m., it also goes in seconds. 6 p.m., it doesn't maybe go in seconds, but it's probably no longer than a minute for that. And most of the time, it has been in seconds also. So you need to be prepared, set alarms on your phone, have someone counting down the seconds, and then pressing that button of join that virtual queue exactly at 7 a.m., 1 p.m., or if you have the option, 6 p.m. Now, if that sounds super stressful, because as a person who's done virtual queues many, many times, this virtual queue is much more stressful than it was for Rise of the Resistance, and it is for Guardians of the Galaxy. So, if that all sounded stressful, I would suggest that you get an individual lightning lane. This is going to be a paid version of saying you can come back at this in this hour time slot to ride this ride. It has been about $20 per person at this time. The price is going to range. I don't expect it to go below $20. Um, I don't really anticipate it going above $20 too much, but during busier times like Christmas, spring break, Thanksgiving, any holiday season, basically, I do anticipate it that it might go up. But at 7 a.m., if you're staying at a Disney resort, you can go on at 7 a.m. and purchase what time you want your individual lightning lane. If you are park hopping, it will allow you after 2 p.m. to purchase an individual lightning lane. And so then you could pick anywhere between 2 p.m. to whenever park closes, whatever's available. If you're staying off site and not at a Disney resort, then when the park opens, you can purchase the individual lightning lane. I will say that has not sold out as much, but the certain times or time frames have sold out faster than others. This is a ride that I really think that you should try to ride at night if possible, and I'll show you that to you at the end. But I wanna show you something so you can see. This right here, when you're walking up to Tron, that will tell you the time of individual lightning lane and for virtual queue. So I'll go back to it in a second so you can see it, and I'll pause it this time. So you can see it's showing what time which virtual queues they're currently getting and what individual lightning lanes they are also taking. So please ask me in the comments if you have questions about that, because if you've never done it before, it can be very confusing. So I have no problem helping you out. Now, you can only walk to a certain point, and then obviously you're entering the line. So here, there's going to be a lightning lane side and a virtual queue side. You will need your Magic Band, your key card, whatever you're using to get into the parks, you'll need to scan it in again at this point. If it's not your time for the virtual queue, if it's not your time for the lightning lane, it will turn blue and they will say you need to come back later. Now, different from every other ride at Disney World, you must put bags in lockers here. You cannot bring bags with you on the ride. There's a small compartment, and I don't have a picture of it, where you can put a cell phone. It's pretty small, so it's not like a big section, but you will need to put that in the light cycle, I guess, if you want. Now that I've ridden the ride, I'm not sure I would take my phone with me. The container is fine and it probably holds the phone, but it gave me such stress that I would probably just leave it in the locker next time. So what happens is you come up to these lockers and there's like walls and walls and walls of them. And you want to find one that has a light like this, and you're going to tap your Magic Band or your key card or whatever you're using to show that you have a ticket. And then you're going to push that button and you're going to open it, and you could put your stuff in the locker. Now, this is a Loungefly backpack. It's not a huge backpack. It fit, but larger backpacks are going to be an issue. So you can split things up if you have multiple people. So you can have multiple lockers for each person having their own locker, and that'll be fine. Do your best to remember the number. That's super important because when you leave, you're not going to the same space. You're actually going to the other side of the locker. This is a two-sided locker. And when you're leaving, you're on the other side of the locker doing your Magic Band or doing your key card or whatever. And the other side is opening so you can grab your stuff. Now, here we are. This is the line. It's kind of two lines. They come down, they turn around, and then you're getting into the light cycles. And I'm going to play this video a few times, so don't worry. But this is what it looks like. So you are kind of bent over and you are riding like this. Now, what you should know is people are waiting in line here. One person is going to be walking around to get on here, and the other person that's riding is just going to walk up here. Then they're going to secure you. Now, it's not super secure on your back. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe type of thing. But it does come around your calves and it does come around your back. So you want to make sure that you are there, and they're going to make you pull down to tighten it on your back. So I didn't think it was very tight on my back, but depending on, your body shape or body type, it might be a little different for you. I was very nervous for how tight it would be around my calves. I did not find it very tight around my calves either. And I think that's something that they're working on. So it's not too tight for people. Um, oh my gosh, I went way back. Sorry. All right. So what's important is after the ride, you go and get your bag and then you can walk out. If you're someone who has kids and you don't wanna do the ride, or you're doing ride or switch or whatever, there are plenty of things around to do. So right at the entrance, there is like a little food area where you can, buy there's only like 3 or 4 things. So you can, get a snack here. I'm showing you this is the People Mover. So this is a very calm ride, no height restriction here. Um, Goes around Tomorrowland, and it will go past Tron. So if you have kids and you're waiting, this might be some ride to do instead. Your other option is, so here we are at the front of Tron. If you continue to walk down this pathway, this is bringing you back to where a train station stop is. You have the Dumbo ride. You have the Barnstormer. You can do Pete's Silly Sideshow, which is meeting Daisy or Donald's. They have different characters sometimes back there. So there's plenty of things to do if someone is riding it and some people are not. So don't just like stand around waiting if you don't need to. It's fine to split up your family, and some people do one thing and others do others, and then swap if you need to. But there's lots of things to do in this area. My biggest suggestion, if this is the ride and you're like, oh my gosh, I definitely want to do this ride, I highly suggest it at night. If you can buy that individual lightning lane and choose that nighttime time slot, that is what I would do. It is amazing to do at night. I loved doing it at night, and I think it's a totally different ride during the day. I don't think it's as fun during the day as it is at night. It's a different experience. What happens. And another thing is, this is not an intense coaster, but it is super intense at the beginning. You are going like 0 to 60 very quickly. And that was the only part that I did not like as much. I really enjoyed the ride in general, and I would do it again, but the one part I did not like was that very beginning. Like, it was okay at the beginning, but it kept getting faster and faster and faster, and it was like, "Okay, I don't think we had to get that fast for this ride." That's what makes it intense. There are no big drops, you're not going upside down, you're not even really going that sideways. But I say that because if you have kids and you're thinking about riding this ride, it's intense. And you're on those 2 light cycles. You can't like hold your kid like you can on a regular roller coaster. Like, they are separate. You're holding on to your bike, they're holding on to their bike. I did not see small children or kids that just made the height requirement go on this ride. Most of the kids that I saw were over the age of 10 that were riding this ride. And I had gone a few times back and forth, like seeing the types of people who are going in line and things like that. So, granted, it was, within 48 hours of each other, but I'm not seeing a lot of smaller kids ride this ride, just so you're aware, or the kids that are just at the height limit of this ride. The other thing I will say is Guardians of the Galaxy is a ride in Epcot, and that is a roller coaster I cannot ride. It is too, it makes me nauseous. This ride does not make you nauseous at all. There are screens, there are things going on. They do not bother me like it does in Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not sure if it's the way that you're positioned. I'm not sure if it's that I wanted to so badly like this ride or not, but it was much better than Guardians of the Galaxy. I was mostly afraid that my phone was gonna fall out of that pocket, but everything else was great except for that launch. Right, like the last 2 seconds, I was like, "Just make this be over." But it's such a fun ride. I don't know if there's really good theming to it. I don't know what the story is, from this ride, and it is shorter. It didn't seem as short as people commented, like, made me comment about it. I thought it was, about the same as Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So not a very long roller coaster, definitely not as long as Guardians of the Galaxy. But I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and it did not make me nauseous, so I'm super excited about that. So all right. I hope that this helped you when you're planning for your next trip. And if you like this video, if you could like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. And my information is below if you need any help. And let me know what questions or comments you have about Tron. And I will see you next time on Magical Travel Adventure. Bye.